Imagine you're alone in a dense forest at night. Suddenly, out of the inky darkness, a figure appears. It's pale, stiff, and hopping. You've just encountered a Jiangshi, the Chinese hopping vampire zombie. So what exactly is a Jiangshi? Where did these eerie tales come from? And more importantly, how do you survive if one comes after you? Welcome to the mysteries of mythology, the Jiangshi. Across China and its neighboring countries, one mythical creature has been sending chills down spines for centuries. The Jiangshi, often called hopping vampires. These undead beings are a far cry from the suave, cape-wearing vampires of Western lore. They appear as corpses, stiff with rigor mortis, dressed in Qing Dynasty burial clothes, with skin an unnatural shade of greenish-white. Unlike Western vampires who glide gracefully, the Jiangshi normally hops in an unnerving, jerky manner. The name Jiangshi literally translates to stiff corpse, perfectly capturing their rigid, unnatural state. According to Chinese tradition, a body possesses several souls, 3 Hun souls made of yang energy and 7 Po souls made of yin energy. While the Hun souls leave the body to move on to the afterlife, the Po souls remain behind. If these Po souls take control of the body, it can reanimate as a Jiangshi. This imbalance of energies, particularly an excess of yin energy, is often thought to disturb the natural order, leading to the creation of a Jiangshi. The Jiangshi wasn't confined to Chinese borders either. These hopping horrors have found their way into the folklore of Vietnam, Korea, Indonesia, and Japan, each culture adding its own twist to the legend. But Jiangshi aren't just mindless monsters. In many stories, they're tragic figures bound to the earth by a curse or unfinished business. Their tales often reflect deep-seated cultural fears and beliefs about death, the afterlife, and the consequences of a restless spirit. So, as we dive deeper into the world of the Jiangshi, ask yourself, what would you do if you heard the distinctive thump, thump, thump of a hopping vampire approaching in the dead of night? To understand the Jiangshi, we need to explore ancient Chinese beliefs about death and the afterlife. In ancient China, death wasn't seen as the end, but rather a transition to another form of existence. The deceased were believed to continue influencing the world of the living. Those properly honored became benevolent ancestors, while those denied proper funeral rites risked becoming restless spirits. The Jiangshi likely emerged during the Qing Dynasty between 1644 and 1912, a period rich with supernatural tales. Collections like Pu Songling's Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio popularized these narratives. During the Qing Dynasty, Jiangshi stories became a significant part of Chinese folklore. This period, rich with supernatural tales, saw Jiangshi depicted as reanimated corpses driven by an insatiable hunger for qi, the life force of the living. Taoist priests, highly valued for their expertise in balancing the energies of life and death, played a crucial role in these stories. They were the primary defenders against Jiangshi, using talismans, rituals, and incantations to control or banish these undead creatures. Failing to follow Taoist principles was believed to risk damning one's soul for all eternity. Depending on the regions they were told, there are many versions of how the Jiangshi came to be. Each sheds light on the cultural and spiritual beliefs of ancient China. Proper burial rites are extremely important in traditional Chinese culture. When these rituals are neglected, it is believed that the spirit of the deceased may become restless, potentially leading to the reanimation of the body as a Jiangshi. Some stories suggest that a corpse can transform into a Jiangshi, by absorbing an excess of yin energy, which is associated with darkness, cold, and death. This imbalance of energies is thought to disturb the natural order, causing the dead to rise. Similarly, a body struck by lightning might reanimate. Certain legends describe Jiangshi as the result of evil spirits or curses reanimating corpses. These spirits, often driven by vengeance or unfinished earthly business, inhabit the bodies of the deceased, infusing them with unnatural life. The possessed corpse becomes a Jiangshi, driven by an insatiable hunger for the life force of the living. A more pragmatic explanation stems from historical funeral practices. When someone died far from home, families faced the costly and challenging task of returning the body for proper burial. To address this, Taoist priests developed a practice known as Jiangshi, or driving corpses. They would perform rituals to reanimate the deceased, enabling them to hop back to their home village. The priests would lead these reanimated bodies at night, often ringing a bell to announce their presence, and it was thought that looking upon a Jiangshi was a bad omen. Each of these creation myths offers unique insights into Chinese cultural beliefs about death and the afterlife. They reveal that Jiangshi are not just monsters, but a complex embodiment of ancient fears, respect for tradition, and the human struggle to understand the mysteries of death. Jiangshi are said to look like corpses with sickly greenish-white skin, as if covered in fungus or mold. They are dressed in traditional Qing Dynasty burial attire, a long dark robe and a tall round hat. They have an expressionless face, hollow eyes, long unkempt hair, and elongated fingernails. The Jiangshi's body is stiff and locked in rigor mortis, giving them an unmistakably undead appearance. Because of the rigor mortis, Jiangshi can't walk or run. Instead, they hop, with arms outstretched for balance. It's a sight that's both terrifying and, admittedly, a little absurd. This unique method of movement is the Jiangshi's most iconic feature, earning them the nickname hopping vampires. Jiangshi behavior evolves over time. Initially, these creatures are timid, only feeding on small animals or when their targets are asleep. However, as they consume more life force, they grow bolder and more powerful. They start by mustering a weak hop, but eventually they can leap seemingly impossible distances, and if left unchecked, they may even develop the ability to fly. This progression makes them increasingly dangerous predators over time. However, despite their comical movement, Jiangshi are dangerous predators. They operate on pure animalistic instinct, with no memory of their past lives or human emotions. Their sole drive is to feed on the life force or qi of the living. Jiangshi hunt primarily by sensing humans' breath, making them particularly dangerous in enclosed spaces. They also have heightened senses of smell and hearing to detect potential victims. Once a Jiangshi locks onto a target, it will relentlessly hop in pursuit, driven by an insatiable hunger for qi. Despite their terrifying nature, Jiangshi have several vulnerabilities that can be exploited to defend against them. Over centuries, various methods and techniques were said to have been developed to defend against these undead beings. Similar to Western vampire legends, Jiangshi are repelled by garlic. The pungent smell of garlic is believed to drive them away, providing a simple yet effective defense. Mirrors are another potent tool against Jiangshi. These creatures are terrified of their own reflection, which reminds them of their undead state. By showing a Jiangshi a mirror, you can cause it to retreat in horror. The crowing of a rooster at dawn symbolizes the arrival of daylight, which Jiangshi fear and avoid. The sound of a rooster's crow can make these nocturnal creatures flee, marking the end of their terror for the night. This defense is based on the belief that the rooster's call signals the return of the living world. One of the most effective ways to neutralize a Jiangshi involves using Taoist talismans. Additionally, Jiangshi are known for their obsessive-compulsive behavior, which compels them to stop and count small objects like grains of rice. Vinegar rooster cries at dawn, the hoof of a black donkey, and the hair of a black dog are also believed to ward them off. Building wooden slats under doors can prevent them from entering homes, as their stiff bodies cannot easily hop over these barriers. Jiangshis are known to detect the living through their breath. By holding your breath, you can temporarily evade their detection, allowing you to escape or hide. Jiangshi are also vulnerable to fire, which can destroy their reanimated bodies. Weapons made from peachwood, considered sacred and imbued with spiritual power, are particularly effective in combating these creatures. Peachwood swords and stakes can be used to subdue or kill a Jiangshi. In Chinese culture, the boundary between the living and the dead is a significant concept, and numerous festivals and rituals are dedicated to honoring ancestors and preventing the rise of malevolent spirits like Jiangshi. One of the most important events in this context is the Ghost Festival, held during the 7th lunar month. During this time, it is believed that the boundary between the living and the dead is at its thinnest, allowing spirits to roam the earth. To appease these wandering spirits, people make offerings of food, burn incense, and perform rituals believed to maintain the well-being of the departed and ensure they do not become restless spirits. Taoist priests play a crucial role during these festivals. They conduct ceremonies to cleanse areas of negative energy and protect communities from the threat of reanimated corpses. The Jiangshi has also made a significant impact on modern media, particularly in Hong Kong cinema. The 1985 film Mr. Vampire is one of the most well-known movies featuring Jiangshis. This comedy horror film follows a Taoist priest and his two bumbling assistants as they try to stop a Jiangshi from terrorizing a small village, and it has some great martial arts in it too. The success of Mr. Vampire spawned several sequels and imitators, cementing the Jiangshi's place in contemporary culture. The stories and legends surrounding these creatures not only entertain, but also serve as cautionary tales about the importance of honoring the dead and respecting the natural order. Hopefully you are ready now if you are unfortunate enough to meet one of these hopping vampires. As always, let me know what you think about Jiangshi in the comments, and join me in the next video as we explore more of the mysteries of mythology.